Now let's discuss end-of-life failure. So how do filters reach the end of their life? Well, here we have our drawing of our filter under a microscope. So what tends to happen over time is these little bits of dust, the fines, slowly make their way into the depth of the filter. So normally we're having the big particles that form the dust cake on the surface. And then when the cleaning cycle is initiated, most of this dust is removed and then it begins to build up again and again. This also protects the filter to an extent from the fine particles. But over time, little bits make their way in and they eventually begin to lodge themselves in the depth of the filter. So now, as you can see here, when the air comes in, it has to make its way around not just the fibers of the bag, but also wiggle around all this dust that's in here before making its way out. So the result is two things. One, you have more restricted airflow, so you start to see things like higher differential pressure. And no matter how much you clean the filters, it will not go down. That's because even if you blow off all of the dust cake from the surface, all of these particles are now restricting the airflow. The other thing you begin to see is as the air goes through, the new particles hit these old ones, and you begin to see emissions coming out the back of the filter, even though there's no holes. So those two things, restricted airflow or higher differential pressure and emissions increasing, are signs that your filters have reached the end of their useful life. So we can compare end of life failure and early filter failure like your tires. How long do your tires last? Well, it depends on how you drive, right? Someone driving a little bit each week, their tires are going to last much longer than someone driving in the Indy 500, right? So the same with our Baghouse filters. How we use them, the type of filters that we're using, as well as what kind of system we have installed, are all going to affect how long our life is. If we get a nail in our tire, that's like early filter failure. So what's the solution then? Well, we put a spare tire on. So the filter that has failed, we replace that one or those two, and we continue on for a little bit until we can change all of the filters together. End of life failure is more like you've driven 50,000, 100,000 miles on your tires and now you have to replace them. There is no patching them or fixing them at this point. They simply need to be replaced. Likewise, when our filters have become blinded because they have dust particles inside the depth of the filter, there is no cleaning, there is no repairing. We simply need to replace them.